to 3764 Elvis Presley Boulevard. Hit it, Elvis. You got me.
Hey guys, it's Elvis back on tour. We're coming to you from Studio E, as you can see. And this is one of those long-awaited videos that we've been working on for some time. We're very excited about this one. As we told you, this is going to be broken up into 3 videos. The first one we've already put out is where we went to Hirsch Coliseum, where Elvis performed in June of '75 and then July of '76. I've already been there, documented the building, and our surprise for that day was having a guest inside, and we kind of kept it a secret, but you now know who it is. It's the wonderful Miss Estelle Brown, who we spent the day with, and just want to give you, before we get into the video of just her, we want to share a couple things with you. First, we'll share with you the background about how this came about. I've shared with a lot of you guys that have followed us for a long period of time. When I was a kid, we had all kinds of record albums in the house. My mom had tons of Elvis stuff. But the first live album that I remember getting when it was first pressed was the Madison Square Garden album. You know how crazy I am about Madison Square Garden. And it was so cool because that was the first time that I really heard like the full introductions, you know, of the entire band. And I literally burned the grooves, you know, I wore the grooves out in that record. I played it so much that it wore the record out completely. And in doing so, I remember, and we're going to play a little bit of this in the video later, the band introductions from Madison Square Garden. And it's so cool because, and a lot of you I think will really be able to relate to what I'm saying here, is when you heard those names mentioned, and we've talked about this before where, you know, you hear J.D. Sumner and the Stamps Quartet. Well, what's cool about Madison Square Garden is one of those times where he introduced each person individually, which was so cool. So you got to hear, you know, Estelle, you got to hear Sylvia, you got to hear Myrna, you got to hear all those names. And those names became, you know, they were like your family members. And I just, you know, you would think of those guys. So think of another entertainer where, you love the entertainer and you know all their band members, you know all their bodyguards. I don't know of many that you can say that for. So we are just so excited to share this with you, and we're going to get to it in just a second. Do you have anything you want to say with regards to what the day was like for you? I know it had to be exciting for you.
Yeah, it was really cool because that was the first time we had done something like that. I mean, we've talked to people in the Elvis world, but it was the first time we've actually got to go into a building with somebody and do what we did.
Right.
So that was really exciting. The fact that we got to document it, so we have it forever, and now we're going to get to share it with you guys. So it was really fun.
And you're going to see all kinds of emotions in this. For those of you that have followed us for a period of time and those that haven't, you're going to learn that we are the type of people that, you know, go for the heart. We want to hear about what's in here. We want to see, you know, the facial expressions. And we've never been the type that when we talk to these guys, we've, you know, kind of made a pact that, you know, we're never going to correct anybody if they get a date wrong, or, you know, we're not technical. And what you got to understand is for a lot of these folks, this was many, many years ago. So if they get a date wrong or a venue wrong, I could care less. I want to be there to hear what's in their heart and to get the emotion. And I think you'd agree with me. We're going to get some emotion in this, one of which was mine at the very end. We'll save that for last. But I struggled with that a little bit because, you know, we're there with a lady who never missed a concert. Right. So it was an exciting day, and we're going to jump right in. The first part of the video basically is going to be, we are dedicating this to Miss Brown. Happy birthday, 80th birthday. When she went to work with Elvis, she was 26 years old in 1969. So that's just incredible. And what a beautiful, sweet, I mean, like a relative, right? Yeah. I mean, just love her to death. So, but anyway, we're kind of broken it up. The first part is basically going to be in the building, Hirsch Coliseum. The audio you will hear, you're going to hear her do some songs. That was so cool. We're sitting right there with one of the Sweet Inspirations singing a song. Yeah. And what's so cool about it is we use the audio from that day. So those walls had not heard that sound until you know, we played it in there that day. So
So when we had the opportunity to play some songs from that concert, I just went through and I was up top with the gentleman that gave us the tour, and we were given the opportunity to play a few songs. And the song that I chose was "Burning Love." I was just scrolling through some songs, and I was like, "This sounds like a good one to play in the Coliseum." So I put that one on, and as you can tell, Estelle was instantly taken back to 1975 when that concert happened. And from where I was up top, it was really cool. You could see her dancing a little bit, but what was that like for you when you were down next to her?
Yeah, that was amazing because, like Michael said, he's up there. I'm sitting right next to her, and I think the thing that jumped out at me right away was the focus in when we played this. Focus in on the smile on her face when that song started. I mean, she was beaming because we really didn't know what to expect,
Right.
and she's hearing Elvis, the exact same songs that they did in that building, so many years ago. She's hearing Elvis's voice, and she was just beaming when she heard his voice. But what really got me was, in this one, the emotion that we captured was happiness. I mean, she was just ecstatic, and the thing that just blew me away that I'll take to my grave with me is she sang the entire thing. She never missed it. She sang her parts like she was on, like we were on tour or they were on tour, and it was amazing how she just knew her parts. So, all right, so let's take a look at Burning Love and see what you guys think about the smile on her face.
Lord Almighty, I feel my temperature rising. Higher, higher, it's burning through to my soul. Yeah. Girl, 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 you gonna set me on fire. Yeah. My brain is flaming, I don't know which way to go. Yeah. 'Cause your kisses lift me higher, like the sweet song on fire. And you light my warm sky, burning love, burning love. Ooh, 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 I feel my temperature rising. Please would you help me? I feel like I'm slipping in pain. It's hard to breathe, and my chest is heaving. Lord Almighty, I'm burning the whole world away. 'Cause your kisses lift me higher, like the sweet song on the fire. And you light my whole sky, a burning love. It's coming closer, the flames are now licking my body. Please won't you help me? I feel like I'm slipping away. It's hard to breathe, and my chest is a heaving. Lord Almighty, I'm burning the whole world in. Yeah, 'cause your kisses lift me higher, like the sweet song on the fire. And you light my moon sky, burning love, 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 burning
Right here in this building,
That's all right.
right there.
Okay, so for the second song that we chose, we wanted to do "How Great Thou Art" because we had a conversation with her several months ago, and I'd asked her. I said, Miss Brown, what was out of all the songs you sang with Elvis, either on stage or up in the suite or whatever, what was your favorite song? And it was hands down "How Great Thou Art." So you had that queued up, ready to go, and Elvis does a tremendous version of that song during this concert. And I was just captured by the peace on Miss Brown's face. I mean, just a piece. But what really jumped out at me is at the end of the song, almost as if her guys were there with her, you know, it felt like while she was up there singing, when I was sitting there next to her, and I was trying not to bother her at all. I just wanted to see and just experience, you know, what was going on. You hear her talk to J.D. Sumner right at the end, and that just jumped out at me. It was like she was going back in time, and we were there for it. So
yeah. When I was up top, you know, I can't really see what she's doing or, you know, what the expression is on her face, but, you know, from a non-Estelle point of view, you know, that song being played in that Coliseum was just, you know, really powerful. And, you know, J.D. Sumner's note at the end, I was telling them when we were up there, we were standing there and all of a sudden you get J.D.'s note at the end of how great thou art, and the table starts vibrating. And I can only imagine what it was like, you know, when they were doing that live. Yeah. Because, you know, it's different when you do it live than in a recording. Yeah. So that was just something that really, you know, stood out to me being up top from a non-Estelle point of view, was just that note at the end with JD, everything was vibrating. So that was pretty interesting.
You know, one thing that might help some of the younger fans is when you listen to the live albums where Elvis is really going after a note, really just giving it all he's got. You always hear like this, what sounds to be like a cheering, like he had his own little private cheering section. And I always thought, when I was small, when I listened to those records, I thought that was like a fan, you know, right at the edge of the stage or whatever. It wasn't. It was a cheering section, and it came in the form of Estelle Brown. And I asked her about that, and I said, you know, what was that all about? And she's going to answer that a little bit later in the video, but I wanted to touch on that because I just thought it was so cool how she was just there every night, you know, just basically cheering him on. Come on, you know, it's almost like, come on, you got this, you got this, you got this. And you can see it in the How Great Thou Art in the CBS special. And in fact, I think we used that later in the video. So we'll get to take a look at that. So just key in on, you know, just take a look at those kinds of things because that's what we found really interesting about her.
Your favorite, right? Yeah.
Oh Lord, my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe display. Sing it, fellas. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation to take me home, what joy shall fill my heart? Then I shall bow in humble adoration and there proclaim, oh my God, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, oh how great
Sing, JD. Wow.
Thanks for letting us share that with you.
Wow. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
We wanted this to work out just like it did.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
What
Okay.
what was going through, if you don't mind me asking, like what was going through your mind there
At the moment,
when you were hearing
just
that?
wishing that it didn't have to end, you know.
Okay, so there was a part in the video where, and I think everybody that's watching this video is going to say there had to be a time where you got chills down your spine. For me, it was pretty much the entire time we were with her. But one in particular time was when you chose to do 2001 from that night, 2001 CC Rider. What will stand out, at least it did for me, what will stand out here is the stage, the way we were sitting, the stage was to our left. And for the first couple songs, I picked up on this, for the first couple songs that we did with her, she never really looked up to the stage. When we did 2001 in CC Rider, it was the first time she really kind of keyed in on that stage. And she explains why after. And it was really an emotional, what she said to me after the song. But what really got to me is there's a point in CC Rider when she closes her eyes. And I said, you know, afterwards, I said, you know, what were you thinking? And she'll tell you what she was thinking. But just really emotional time. And I can't say enough, I'm so glad that we got to do this, because what a beautiful person. And to share like her thoughts and her feelings about that, and to, you know, go back so many years ago was just incredible. So we're gonna cue up 2001 and CC Rider, and you guys take a look.
So open.
Oh, see, CC Rider. Oh, see what you have done. I said, see, CC Rider. Oh, see what you have done. Girl, you made me love you. Now you know that is done. When I say, well, I'm gone away, baby. All I want, be back to forth. Well, I'm going away, baby. All I want.
How was that?
It's amazing. I'm just imagining it happening.
You could see him up there, couldn't you? I could see it in your face. You could see him up there.
I can just imagine.
You had the best seat in the house, didn't you?
Yes, indeed.
Maybe Ronnie Tutt, but
No,
you could see his
mine-
face.
Mine was the better one.
What was that? One of the questions I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind, but you got 2001 playing, you know he's getting ready to come out. It's dark out there. And he had to walk right by you every night.
Every night.
What was that like when that burst of energy? Because I was never at a concert. You were at all of them.
Okay.
What was that energy? What was that like?
Like, it's hard to describe. You know, I knew he was coming, but I just wanted him to be the best that he could be. You know, that the energy that I felt from him, I was giving to him also. You know, so it's,
Giving it back and forth. And then I've said, you're going to know this far better than I ever would, but I have said over and over and over, because when we do these videos, people ask us questions. And I
Okay.
said, well, we have we have good knowledge, but we have limited knowledge because
Right.
we were never on stage with him.
Right.
But I said, from what I could hear in the recordings, I said, I'm of the opinion that his voice was probably at its best just before he died. What do you
I think
say
so
to that?
also. I think he got stronger.
Right.
And it was probably because he didn't know, but maybe just the way God planned it,
Okay.
he was going to leave.
Right.
And he wanted to leave his best here.
Right.
So,
Did you ever think there towards the end, Miss Brown, on those last few tours, did you have the feeling that he had the feeling that he wasn't going to be here much longer?
mhm,
You did.
yes.
I agree.
I remember him always saying, my mama's going to come and get me. My mama's coming and get me.
He was tired too, wasn't he?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
There were a lot of
That's
people
a matter.
that we've talked to said, you know, he loved being Elvis, but I said, I'm sure he did, but there had to be a time where he needed a break from being Elvis.
Exactly. Exactly. And that it's hard because people wouldn't allow him to be him.
Right.
They wanted him to be what they wanted, but he just wanted to be him.
Exactly right.
You know?
Exactly right. What do you miss the most? If you could just think of like about your friend, missing your friend. What
I
do you
miss-
miss the most?
I miss his laugh. His laugh. He had an infectious laugh. When he laughed, he would make everybody laugh. And we didn't even know what he was laughing at.
Now, tell me this. It sounds like in all the recording, I told Michael one time, I said, Michael, there wasn't a person up on that stage that was safe from him. He'd pick on everybody, wouldn't he?
Everybody. But it seems like he picked on me the most. I don't know why.
Okay, so that part of the video is complete. We did the music, and then what then I wanted to do was get into more of a personal conversation with her. I wanted to learn from her about her relationship with her friend, and a lot of times you watch. Maybe you'll agree with this. I don't know, but a lot of times you watch an interview, and I've seen it a lot in the Elvis world, where the interviewer is basically correcting or maybe telling the person something. That person more than likely wasn't there. Right. The person you're interviewing is the person that was there. So I'm all ears when I'm here. That's who I want to hear from. And like going back to what I said earlier, this was not meant to be a technical video. There's a ton of videos out there that'll tell you all about the different band members, when they started singing or when they started playing their instrument that they played for Elvis, and it'll give their history. That really wasn't the purpose of this. I think we agree on that. That the purpose of this video was more or less to a reactionary type thing. I wanted to see her reaction. I wanted to be sitting next to her when she heard Elvis's voice, in that building. Mm-hmm. And I think we accomplished that. But now we're moving away from the music and we're getting more into, tell us about your friend. Mm-hmm. And boy, I'll tell you, there was some, you'll see in the video, there were some very emotional times there that thank God that we captured this stuff on video. So I'm forever grateful for the time that we spent with her.
The inspiration, this is Estelle. What's your name? Sylvia. Marta. Blue room, those are high voice singing is Kathy Westmoreland.
What's that make you feel like when you, that was you? That's Madison Square Garden.
I don't know. It's just so amazing to me.
Right.
You know, I'm not just amazed, but I'm thankful.
Right.
You know?
Okay, so we had a blast with this one. This was, we've been holding this for years, waiting to one day play this for her. And I was just so excited to see when she heard this, because it's not a commonly known recording. You know, you got to dig to find this one. So Charlotte, February 77, right? Elvis forgets the words to Are You Lonesome Tonight? So as you'll see in the video, we push play, and you know, this whole thing wasn't wasn't sad and you know, all that. We had some laughs. We had a lot of laughs with her that day. She's a very funny woman. But this one, I think you guys will enjoy.
Do the chairs in your park? Oh, wait a minute. Good grief, what's the words of that song? What?
Memory stray.
I can't hear you, honey.
Does your memory stray?
Does yours?
No, that's yours, too.
You gotta do it.
Cute, Sarah.
Oh, Lord.
He said cute as hell.
I mean, just a complete mental block. And I want to sing it about it, man. I love you too, dear.
So one idea that I had when we were sitting down with her was I wanted to show her clips that she may not have seen before. And so we pulled up a clip of Elvis on Tour outtakes, and it was the band, I believe, on an airplane going from city to city. And so we showed her that, and it was cool because, you know, she was seeing all her friends 50 years ago. So that was something cool to see, especially because she's probably never seen that before.
Yeah, that was pretty touching, you know, because if you think about it, it was kind of emotional that day, because if you think about it, you're sitting there watching that video with her, and I'm looking down at all these friends that she's lost. And so what a touching video, what a touching time. So I thought that was really cool to see her reaction on it.
Yes, it is. Knocked out.
There's all your friends.
Come on. So, hide my face.
Donnie there, man, I'm laying all the way out.
Wow.
51 years ago.
That's unreal. 51 years.
Another thing that we wanted to capture was her reaction to Elvis coming on stage, and that was something that she saw hundreds and hundreds of times. And one of the more memorable ones for her, I'm sure, was the Madison Square Garden show. And so we wanted to show her that, and you know, that was something that I thought was really cool, because that's just one of those more famous concerts that she was a part of.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. They were on fire. I mean, literally, I mean, they were phenomenal from 69 to 77. I don't care how you cut it, but 72, rolling into Madison Square Garden. I mean, April was great. That was a phenomenal tour, but man, that June tour, the band was, the girls singing, the Stamps, the orchestra, it was just incredible. But, you know, I'm glad that you did that footage because there were a couple reasons that I really wanted to pick up on. One was that if you think about it, her work ethic was incredible. And I've thought about this so many times where if you look at the left side of that stage, Elvis's left side of that stage, James Burton, 1969, 1977, never missed a show. John Wilkinson, 69, 77, never missed a show. Estelle Brown, 1969, 1977, never missed a show. Now, you start picking apart the rest of the group, and, you know, this is nothing against any of those guys because, you know, people had, you know, they moved on to different things. And that's not what I'm trying to point out here. But what I am trying to say is that you look at, you know, J.D. Sumner can't lay claim to that because they didn't come on until, you know, 71. You know, you got Kathy Westmoreland, you know, she came on later. You got, you know, you come around and you start looking at other folks, you know, Ronnie Tutt, you stop there at the, you know, at the drums and you go, you know, he had to miss some shows for various reasons. Jerry Sheff, you know, left for a period of time. Glenn Hardin left, you know. And again, that's nothing against those guys because I love all those guys just the same, you know that. But I'm just trying to point out her work ethic to never miss a show. And we talked to her about it, and I don't think that we got this on, I think this was just in a private conversation, but I was talking to her about her work ethic. And she said that one time that she had a tooth problem and she had to have a tooth extracted, but she said, I was on that stage that night. And I love work ethic. You know how I am about work ethic. And I'll tell you that having that conversation with her was incredible because to think that all those tours, all those years, all those shows, never missed one. So I'm glad you put that footage in there because it shows Elvis coming on the stage. And I love how he always kind of did a, you know, look back at them almost like, you know, like he was looking to them like, you know, you got my back, and he knew they did.
Did you see that? He isn't out there yet, but he's coming. What were the flash cubes like?
Something that I had never seen. Well, Vegas was the first time I saw all the flashes coming. It was just,
So one of my favorite parts of the day was when we were looking at the on-tour footage where we went to Greensboro and then they're doing For the Good Times. And there's some shots where the cameraman is right over his shoulder and you can see Estelle back there. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when we were watching this footage with her, you know, again, there was so many times in this day where you just knew she was going back in time, mm-hmm. as we discussed in that footage when we were at Hirsch Coliseum. You could see it on her face. And I even said to her in the building, you know, I said, you went back there. Mm-hmm. When we watched the footage of that song, at one point she reached up and grabbed her necklace that Elvis gave her. And she just kept tugging on it. Mm-hmm. And man, I'm telling you that I thought, you know, I'm going to start crying like a little baby in here. But we held it together. And, but another, you know, it was another one of those touching moments that just, again, I'm so glad we got to be a part of.
You just really look like you enjoyed what you were doing.
I love work. I love my work.
I think the thing that I've always loved about you, and I'm glad that I got the chance to tell you, is that it seemed like you enjoyed it, but it just seemed like you were just really rooting for him. You were really...
I was.
Just...
I'll get along. You'll find and I'll be here.
say a word about tomorrow or forever. There'll be time enough for sadness when you lay your head.
Okay, so one of the coolest parts of the day was when we were having a conversation with her. This was early on. We were having a conversation, and I forget really what the topic was, but she brought up the fact how Elvis shows up in these strange ways all the time. And then we went to the building, and the guys at the building had talked about certain things that go on in that building at sometimes, and they kind of happened back there in that room where, you know, like they showed us where Elvis' dressing room was, and they said some weird things happened back there. So we're having this conversation, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, you know, she's right, because we've talked about, and we've talked about on our videos where we go to some of these buildings and you feel that strong presence, not the ghost thing, but that, you know, that strong presence that it's almost like he had just walked out of the room when we walked in, and that's pretty cool. But we were talking about how Elvis shows up in these strange ways, and she's getting ready to tell the story here about something that Elvis had given her, and little did we know, we had actually brought the miniature version of what Elvis gave her and had no way of knowing, right? Mm-hmm. We had no way of knowing that. We just wanted to take it to show something from our collection to see if it would conjure up a memory. Well, boy, it conjured up a memory, and you're getting ready to see it now. You and I were just talking about something that you had,
right,
that Elvis gave you.
Yes.
So what was it?
I can't even remember the year, but Elvis gave each one of us a tall handle, and I gave it to my godson. I need to be beat. I gave it to my God because I didn't think of Elvis not being here, and I'm not, you know. But I wish I had that handle today.
So you remember today at lunch when we were talking about how Elvis shows up in these weird ways, right?
Yeah.
And I brought this not knowing that story you just told, but I brought this to show you, to see if you remember, and based on that story.
Oh, wow. Exactly. But he was a real.
He was big. So there were 3 of these,
man.
and we want to hold that. So we want to get a picture with you.
Oh God.
There he is.
Oh God.
So what are the chances of that?
It's unreal. This is unbelievable.
Now, what are the chances out of all the things you could have said that he gave you?
Right. I told.
And there he is.
Wow.
Now
Exactly.
So you may not remember this though, but you all somebody decided, let's use these, and it's got the summer festival. So when you guys were in Vegas, and you may remember at some point, so there was the big one that you talk about.
Yes.
Then there was this one, and then there was a little one. So
really?
the little one, there's a video of Elvis throwing these out into the crowd.
Oh,
Do you remember
really?
that?
I don't remember.
Charlie Hodge would hand them to him, and he would throw them out.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And there's actually, you can see in the video where he throws one of these out. I said, I don't know if I throw too many of these out. Hit the dinner plate or something.
Really?
But
wow.
Tell him what the name is.
So you know what we named him?
Elvis.
Charlie.
You named him Charlie. That's great.
Because Charlie's the one that would have
Charlie,
handed him to us. So, but yeah, we wanted to bring him because we wanted you to see him.
Yeah,
and,
that's nice. That's really nice.
Once we put him away, he's going to be put away for.
That's right.
Okay, so we're at a part in the video now where we're starting to wind down. It's it's getting late in the day, and we're getting ready to leave. But before we left, we wanted to kind of talk to her a little bit about that last day, August 16th. They're headed to Portland, Maine, and to begin that next tour. And we just wanted to see, kind of how that impacted her life and what that was like. And she tells the story. Before we go, I just wanted to, because I've always wanted to know. So over at the building, we were talking about, as it was coming up to the end.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you just felt like Elvis was tired.
Yes.
I mean, you could see that because you watched him
Right.
take that stage
Right.
every night.
I could see it, but I had no idea that he was getting ready to leave here.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
And so the touring years, just to go over how much you enjoyed being on the road with him, that Elvis loved being out there with his fans.
He loved people.
Right.
That's what it is. And people loved Elvis, you know, and you could see it, you could feel it, you know, so.
Where were you we heard different versions of the story about where everybody was at, because everybody was going to Portland for that last
We were
tour.
all on.
Where were you that day? Can you just tell me a little
I
bit?
was on the flight.
You were on that flight.
Going to meet him for the show in Portland. And I guess the people at the airport called the pilot and told him that Elvis had made his transition and that he would. So what was happening, the pilot told us we would have to stop for a minute. We thought he was going to have to get more gas or whatever. But anyway, he landed, and Marty Harrell, they gave him the message, and he had to relay that message to everybody on the plane. And he asked everybody to get off the plane. I said, for what, man? We didn't get off the plane, we gotta go, you know? So everybody got off except Myrna. She didn't want to get off. I'm not getting off. Marty, you have to get off because I have to tell you something, and I can only say it once. So when she got off the plane, we all stood around and he told us Elvis had made his transition. It was chaos. It's just chaos.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you haven't been the same since, right?
Mm.
Changed you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we wrapped up that day, one thing that was very important for me to get out, and I'm sure it was important for you as well, is I wanted to make sure that she was fully aware of the role that she played in my life. And I remember growing up, one of the lessons that my mom taught me was that, you know, when you really think well of somebody, you know, you let them know that, you tell them that, and you tell them every chance you get. And, you know, Miss Brown is a good friend of ours, and, you know, we'll have other chances to talk to her, but I don't know if we'll ever get a chance to, you know, do what we did here again. So I just wanted to kind of wrap it all up at the end of the day with telling her how much she means to us and what a special person she is to us. And so that's what you're getting ready to see. It was an emotional time, and you'll see the emotion. Michael and I are the type of people, we don't mind sharing emotion, and we don't mind sharing how we feel. There's a time and a place in our videos to be technical. We try to get it right, and dates and times and all that, and the suits that he wore and everything. But that's not what this video was about, and that's not what this day was about. This day was about letting Miss Brown go back in time and share with us all of her feelings and thoughts and memories. And I think we captured it, at least in my eye, we did. And so the final video segment you're going to see here is us getting ready to leave, and we're just letting her know how we feel. And we hope that you guys have enjoyed what you've seen here tonight. And so I told Michael on the flight down here, I said, and I've said this before, but you guys, and I don't think that I get emotional saying it, but
It's all right.
you guys, by doing what you did, you guys basically wrote the soundtrack of my life.
Oh, wow.
And you didn't even know it. So I tell people all the time on our channel, I say, my dad wasn't around a lot. And so I would go into my room and I'd listen to those records.
Right.
And the piece and a lot of times people say, Elvis, Elvis, Elvis. It was all of you.
Exactly.
It was all of you.
He needed everybody to
That's
help
right.
him.
And if you're not up there, he doesn't sound the same. If Ronnie Tutt's not up there, he doesn't sound the same.
Exactly.
If that orchestra wasn't there, it
Mhm.
wasn't the same thing. But I just want to personally thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you so very much.
And I'm glad I got to tell you that.
I wish I could stand close.
We cannot end this video without wishing Miss Estelle Brown a happy 80th birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.